Tom Hanks is a name that resonates with millions worldwide. Known for his unforgettable roles in movies like Forrest Gump, Cast Away, and Saving Private Ryan, he is more than just an iconic actor. Over the years, Tom has earned a special place in people's hearts not just for his talent but for his unwavering kindness and genuine compassion. While many stars shine on the big screen, Tom Hanks has a way of connecting with people beyond the spotlight. His warmth, humility, and empathetic nature make him stand out in a world often focused on fame and glamour. Whether it's through his inspiring speeches or quiet acts of generosity, Tom has consistently shown that being a star means more than just being in the movies. It's about making a difference in people's lives. But one moment, in particular, stands out, a story that reveals the true heart of Tom Hanks. In a touching act of kindness, he visited a young girl named Emily, who was bravely battling a life-threatening illness. What happened during their meeting will leave you speechless. As Emily lay in her hospital bed, dreaming of meeting her favorite actor, she could never have imagined the profound connection they would share. In a single, heartfelt moment, Tom wrapped her in a warm embrace, a gesture filled with love and comfort. It was more than just a hug, it was a symbol of hope, strength, and humanity. What inspired Tom to make this visit? How did this brief encounter leave a lasting impact on Emily and her family? Stay with us as we uncover the story of an extraordinary man whose kindness reminds us all of the power of compassion. Emily was just 10 years old, but her life had already been filled with more challenges than most people face in a lifetime. Diagnosed with terminal cancer, she spent her days in a hospital room surrounded by beeping machines and the soft murmurs of doctors and nurses. Despite her circumstances, Emily was a bright, brave little girl who held on to hope and joy wherever she could find them. One of Emily's greatest sources of happiness was watching movies. In her small hospital room, films became her escape, a window into worlds filled with adventure, laughter, and heartwarming stories. Of all the movies she had seen, Forrest Gump stood out as her favorite. The simple yet profound story of a man overcoming obstacles with kindness and determination resonated deeply with her. And the man who brought Forrest Gump to life, Tom Hanks, became her hero. Emily admired Tom Hanks not just for his acting but for the warmth and sincerity he brought to his roles. She often told her parents how much she would love to meet him someday. "Do you think he's really like Forrest Gump in real life?" she would ask with a hopeful smile. As her condition worsened, Emily clung to one wish above all others: to meet Tom Hanks. Her parents, seeing how much this dream meant to her, reached out to a foundation that worked to grant wishes for children facing life-threatening illnesses. They shared Emily's story, her love for Tom Hanks, and how much it would mean for her to have even a moment of joy in the midst of her struggles. When the foundation contacted Tom Hanks, they didn't expect much, perhaps a signed letter or a short video message. After all, he was a busy man with countless commitments. But Tom's response surprised everyone. He didn't just agree to help, he decided to visit Emily in person. Tom knew the impact such a meeting could have. It wasn't just about granting a wish, it was about giving Emily and her family a memory they could hold onto forever. Without hesitation, he rearranged his schedule, prepared a few gifts, and made his way to the hospital where Emily was being treated. When Emily's parents told her the news, she could hardly believe it. "He's really coming?" she asked, her eyes wide with excitement. For days leading up to the visit, Emily talked about nothing else. She imagined what she would say to him, what questions she would ask, and how amazing it would be to meet the man who had inspired her so deeply. Finally, the day arrived. Emily was sitting up in her hospital bed, her favorite Forrest Gump t-shirt neatly folded beside her. The room was filled with nervous excitement as her parents and nurses helped her get ready. When the door opened and Tom Hanks stepped inside, Emily's face lit up with a smile that seemed to brighten the entire room. There he was, her hero, standing just a few feet away, with the same warm, kind expression she had seen on the screen so many times. "Hi, Emily," Tom said softly, kneeling down beside her bed. "I've heard a lot about you, and I couldn't wait to meet you." Emily's hands trembled slightly as she reached out, and Tom took them in his own, his grip gentle and reassuring. In that moment, her struggles, her pain, and her fears seemed to fade away. This was more than just a visit. For Emily, it was a moment of pure joy, a chance to feel seen, valued, and connected in a way that transcended her illness. And for Tom, it was a reminder of the power of kindness and human connection, even in the face of life's hardest challenges. The hospital room was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines and the faint murmur of voices from the hallway. Emily sat up in her bed, her small frame propped up by pillows as she fidgeted nervously with the blanket. She had been waiting for this moment for days, her excitement bubbling just beneath the surface. Her parents stood nearby, their eyes filled with a mix of anticipation and gratitude. And then, the door opened. When Tom Hanks stepped into the room, it was as if the air shifted. His presence wasn't loud or overwhelming, it was warm and calming, just like the man himself. Emily's eyes widened in disbelief, and for the first time in what felt like forever, a radiant smile spread across her face. The pain, the treatments, and the hospital walls seemed to disappear, replaced by the overwhelming joy of seeing her hero standing just a few feet away. "Hi, Emily," Tom said softly, his voice gentle yet full of genuine warmth. He walked over to her bedside, his kind eyes meeting hers. "I've heard so much about you, and I'm so glad we could finally meet." Emily's voice trembled as she replied, I can't believe you're here." Her small hands clutched the blanket tightly as if anchoring herself in the moment. Tom knelt down beside her bed, bringing himself to her eye level. "Of course I'm here," he said with a smile. "I wouldn't miss the chance to meet such an incredible young lady." Without a second thought, Emily leaned forward, and Tom wrapped her in a gentle hug. He held her close, his arms providing a sense of safety and comfort that she hadn't felt in a long time. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, thank you for coming." Tom held her a moment longer before pulling back just enough to look into her eyes. "There's nowhere else I'd rather be right now," he said sincerely. As they began to talk, the room filled with a warmth that pushed away the heaviness of Emily's illness. Tom asked her about her favorite movies, genuinely curious about the stories and characters that had brought her joy. "Forrest Gump is my favorite," Emily said, her voice growing steadier as she spoke. "I've watched it so many times. I love how he never gives up, no matter what." Tom chuckled. "You know, I think you're a lot like Forrest," he said. "You've got that same kind of bravery and determination. I bet you could teach him a thing or two about being strong." Emily giggled, the sound light and carefree. "Do you think so?" "Absolutely," Tom replied with a nod. "And you know what Forrest would say, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get." They both laughed, and for a moment, it felt as though they were just two friends sharing a special moment, far removed from the reality of the hospital room. Tom shared stories from his own life, talking about funny moments on movie sets and the things that inspired him as an actor. He listened intently as Emily opened up about her dreams and fears, her words flowing easily as she talked to someone who truly cared. "I always wanted to be an actress," Emily said, her eyes shining. "But I guess that won't happen now." Tom's expression softened, and he reached out to hold her hand. You know, Emily, being an actress is about more than just being on a screen. It's about telling stories, making people feel something. And from everything I've heard about you, you're already doing that. You're inspiring everyone around you. As the conversation continued, Emily's parents watched from the corner of the room, their hearts full. Seeing their daughter smile, hearing her laugh, it was a gift they hadn't dared to hope for in the midst of her illness. Tom's kindness and genuine attention gave them a sense of peace they hadn't felt in weeks. For Emily, this wasn't just about meeting a famous actor. It was about feeling seen and valued, about connecting with someone who truly cared about her as a person. In Tom's presence, she felt cherished in a way that lifted her spirits and made her forget, even if only for a little while, the weight of her illness. Before leaving, Tom stood up and looked at Emily with a smile. "You're an amazing young lady, Emily," he said. "And I hope you know that you've made my day just as much as I've made yours." Emily beamed, her face glowing with happiness. "You really mean that?" "Of course I do," Tom replied. "You've got a heart full of courage, and that's something the world needs more of." As he turned to leave, Emily's voice stopped him. "Tom," she said softly. He turned back, his expression full of warmth. "Yes, Emily. Thank you. For everything." Tom nodded, his voice gentle. "Thank you for letting me be a part of your story." In that room, in those few precious moments, Tom Hanks gave Emily and her family something more valuable than words could express: a memory filled with love, kindness, and connection that they would carry with them forever. The days that followed Tom Hanks' visit were filled with a warmth that Emily's family hadn't felt in a long time. For weeks, their lives had revolved around treatments, appointments, and difficult conversations. But Tom's visit had given them a reprieve, a moment of light in what had been a long stretch of darkness. Emily, though still battling her illness, had a newfound brightness in her demeanor. She couldn't stop talking about the visit. "Can you believe Tom Hanks came to see me?" she would say, her eyes sparkling with joy. She recounted every detail: his kind smile, his warm hug, and the way he made her laugh. Her parents, too, noticed the change in her. For the first time in months, Emily seemed truly happy, as though the weight of her illness had been momentarily lifted. Her mother, Sarah, often found herself reflecting on the visit. "It wasn't just about meeting a celebrity," she said. "It was about the kindness he showed, the way he made Emily feel seen and loved." In those moments, she wasn't just a patient, she was a little girl with dreams, laughter, and hope. Emily's father, Mark, agreed. "He didn't just fulfill her wish," he said. "He gave us a memory we'll treasure forever. That day will always be with us, no matter what." Sadly, Emily passed away a few weeks later. But her family held on to the joy and love she experienced during Tom's visit. They often revisited the photos and videos they had taken that day, her laughter echoing in their memories. Emily's story didn't end with her passing. A nurse who had been present during Tom's visit shared the experience on social media, posting a photo of him sitting by Emily's bedside with the caption, "A moment of pure kindness." Tom Hanks brought joy to a young girl's final days, reminding us all of the power of compassion. The post quickly went viral. People around the world were touched by the story of Tom's selfless act, and thousands of comments poured in. "This is the kind of humanity we need more of. Tom Hanks, you're a legend both on and off the screen. This inspires me to find ways to bring light to someone's life today." News outlets picked up the story, and soon, it became a global example of how small gestures can create profound impacts. Inspired by Tom's actions, people began to share their own stories of kindness. In one town, a local cafe owner read about Emily's story and started a pay-it-forward program, encouraging customers to buy meals for strangers in need. In another, a teacher used the story to teach her students about empathy, sparking a classroom-wide project to help families in their community. Emily's parents also saw the ripple effect firsthand. They received letters from people all over the world, sharing how Emily's courage and Tom's visit had inspired them. One woman wrote, "I've been struggling with loneliness for a long time, but your daughter's story reminded me to reach out and connect with others. Her bravery has changed my life." For Sarah and Mark, these messages brought comfort. They knew that Emily's story and the kindness Tom had shown was making a difference far beyond their little hospital room. Tom Hanks, too, was moved by the response. When asked about the visit in an interview, he said, "Emily taught me more in those few minutes than I could ever hope to teach others. She reminded me that kindness is the greatest gift we can give, no matter who we are." Emily's story became a beacon of hope, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness could ripple out and touch countless lives. Her family, though heartbroken by her loss, found solace in knowing that her memory continued to inspire others. And for the world, the lesson was clear: kindness doesn't require fame, wealth, or grand gestures. It starts with a simple decision to see someone, to care, and to act. Tom Hanks sat quietly in his home, a cup of tea resting on the table beside him. The evening light poured softly through the windows, casting long shadows across the room. He scrolled through his phone, reading the countless messages and stories that had emerged after his visit with Emily. Her story had reached far beyond the walls of that small hospital room, touching lives in ways he hadn't anticipated. Tom leaned back, his thoughts drifting to that day. He could still see Emily's bright smile, hear her laughter as they talked about their favorite movie scenes, and feel the warmth of her hug. For a man who had spent decades in the spotlight, that single moment with Emily felt more meaningful than any award or applause. "She reminded me," he thought to himself, "that life isn't about the big things we achieve, it's about the small moments of connection that make it all worthwhile." In an interview reflecting on the experience, Tom shared his thoughts about the importance of kindness. "Emily taught me something profound," he said. "She showed me that even in the toughest moments, there's room for joy, for laughter, for love. And it's not about doing grand gestures, it's about being present, listening, and showing someone that they matter." He paused, gathering his thoughts. Sometimes, it's the simplest gestures, a hug, a kind word, that leave the greatest impact. You don't have to change the world to change someone's world. That day with Emily was a reminder of that. Tom's words resonated deeply with his audience. People shared clips of the interview on social media, commenting on the wisdom and humility he conveyed. "This is why we love Tom Hanks," one viewer wrote. "Not just for the movies, but for the man he is." Emily's story, coupled with Tom's reflections, sparked a movement of kindness. Inspired by his words, people around the world began sharing their own small acts of compassion. A young man in Chicago paid for the groceries of a struggling mother at a supermarket. A group of high school students in Texas organized a fundraiser for a local shelter. In a small town in Italy, an elderly woman left a bouquet of flowers on her neighbor's doorstep with a note that simply read, "You're not alone." Tom followed these stories closely, moved by the ripple effect of Emily's legacy. "This is what it's all about," he thought. One act of kindness leading to another, creating a chain of goodness that stretches far beyond what any one person could imagine. As the evening grew darker, Tom found himself staring out the window, his heart full yet heavy. Losing Emily had been difficult, even for him. But he knew that her spirit, her bravery, her joy, her ability to connect had left a mark on the world. Tom's inner monologue emerged, calm yet resolute. We can't change everything, but we can change something. And sometimes, that something is enough to brighten someone's life. Before turning in for the night, he penned a note in his journal, a habit he had kept for years. Today, I am reminded that kindness isn't about recognition. It's about the quiet moments when we choose to care, to connect, and to show love. Emily, thank you for teaching me this lesson. Tom Hanks' visit to Emily became a story for the ages, a reminder that small gestures can create ripples of kindness far greater than we realize. For everyone who heard the story, the message was clear: you don't need fame, wealth, or power to make a difference. Sometimes, all it takes is a hug, a word of encouragement, or simply being there for someone who needs it. Let Emily's story and Tom's reflections inspire you to take that step, to see someone, to care, to act, because in the end, it's those small moments of kindness that bring us closer to what it means to be truly human. If this story touched your heart and reminded you of the power of kindness, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. Let us spread positivity together.